Hey everyone, Coherence here. Today I'll be talking about different types of mentality in competition. Okay, let's get started. First we have the awakening phase. When we are new to a task, we might misjudge how difficult it may be. We have no expectations and no experience to look back upon. Because of this, something that is really just the norm to everyone else seems like magic to the uninitiated viewer. At this point, since we lack any expectations, we live in this blissful little bubble I like to call being casual. Being there is the best. Every action leads to some discovery. Then we have the second phase, realization. By the time we get a good feel for what we know and what we don't know, we can feel as if everyone else is so far ahead and that any effort that we make is pointless in comparison. Well, feeling that way is okay. In fact, I think that's more or less how it should feel. I mean, just imagine how robbed everyone else who was supposedly ahead of you would feel if suddenly a new challenger with far less practical experience just stepped in and turned the whole scene on its head. That's not to say anomalies like this don't exist, but those kinds of people are few and far between.
But I digress. There is something to take from this, however. Just put in more time. There's still a lot that you know you don't know, but at least you're aware of them. And then there's even more that you just don't know that you don't know. But that's okay, because the community has already paved the way for you with guides and the like to help you catch up faster. Regardless of whether or not you have what it takes, you continue to persist just for the sake of improvement. It would be cool to achieve more than most people, at least, you think to yourself. You're constantly grinding away at the next challenge. Clear that next stage under these constraints. Clear this stage in this much time. As great as it is to push ourselves to improve, it is also important to remember that too much exertion is no good for our bodies. Fatigued, we may fall into a sense of boredom, doing what we just dedicated an extraordinary amount of time to, compared to some 90-something% of people. Well, I don't know about 90 anything, but whatever the number may be, doesn't really matter much. What does hold importance, however, is the fact that you may not hold out much longer if you keep going like this. And I'm not talking about a sudden rage quit. Yeah, that's one way to go, but more realistically, I think it's safe to say that people tend to fizzle out. You put in gradually less and less effort, clock in fewer and fewer hours, then one day you completely forget that you were working towards something. Assuming you don't quit, maybe you realize there is a chance. Eventually, somehow, one day, something clicks. You suddenly pull off a technique you've been practicing for so long. Inside of you sparks a moment of joy. Maybe there is hope after all, you say to yourself. You continue repeating the same actions that yielded these results with hope of finding consistency, and maybe you don't quite find it right away. Well, this isn't some fairy tale after all, it's real life. But no matter, what you have done is you've proven to yourself that it is possible. You already did it once before, and now you know with no shadow of a doubt that you will achieve consistency eventually. And if you ask me, I think having that kind of self-reliance is priceless. Most people gravitate towards what is flashy and easiest to grasp. Now, nothing's wrong with that per se, but when it comes to the more intricate parts of displays of skill, the number of people who truly appreciate it will drastically diminish. This smaller group is comprised of the kinds of people who really want to break down everything there is to know about their game. Whether we're crunching numbers to optimize DPS, rooting for a speedrun, or analyzing frame data to get the upper hand on an opponent, when a big discovery is made, it wasn't just because someone hit their head against a wall until the wall broke. That moment is the amalgamation of people making small contributions, all in favor of having fun and improving at the game they love. Now, that's not to say there are never any high-intensity moments. In fact, those moments are far more likely when you have more and more people leaning towards optimal gameplay than not. Think of those moments when a commentator has to pick up their rate of speech, approaching machine gun pace just so they can keep up with the action going on. Everyone can sense the hype, but how many people pick into the finesse and optimizations that yielded such an outcome? Mastery is not only a fervent blaze, but also an enduring ember. And there you have it, some of the different stages or types of mentality you see in competition. Consider leaving a like or subscribing if you found this video interesting. And with that said, I hope you have a nice day.